In this video, we'll walk through some of the things that we can do using the iPad, including signing in or setting up an email account, going on the internet, accessing Yihong's Care Learning website, as well as a brief overview of some of the iPad's different applications and programs. You can use the iPad to log into and access your existing email account, or if you don't already have an email, you can sign up for a new one. Signing up for an email is free and not too difficult to do, but before you start, do make sure you have a piece of paper and pen handy so that if there's any information you need to write down, you can do that. To start, let's go to the bottom bar of the iPad home screen. So here you will see a blue icon with a white envelope in the center of it. That's the icon for our email application. If we press on that icon, you'll see that our email application now opens and shows a list of different email servers that we can choose from. At this step, if you already have an existing email address, you'll choose the correct server from the list that matches the one that you've signed up with, or if you don't see it on the list, you can press Other to manually enter in the email account that you have. If you don't have an email address already, then you can go ahead and choose one of the different servers from the list that you want to use to create your new email account. So today we'll just go with Google as an example. So first you will press on the Google option, and you'll see that a screen here pops up asking you whether you want to use google.com to sign into the mail application. So from here, whether you have an email or you don't, we're going to press continue. Okay, so at this step, if you do have an email address with Google already, then you will enter in your information here and press next and continue through the steps to sign in. If you don't already have an email and we are signing up for one now, then we'll go to here, you'll see the words create account. If we click onto there, it will bring us to the next step to create a new account. So the first step is to enter our name. So we'll go ahead and enter our first and last name, and once you have that entered, you can click next to go to the next step. Okay, so the next step is asking for some more basic information about your birthday and gender. So we'll just go ahead and say that my birthday is the 1st of January in the year 2000. And choose our gender, and once that information is entered, we can go ahead and press next again. So the next step is to create our email address. So this part, it's very important to choose something that you'll be able to remember easily, because this is the email address that you'll be using moving forward. So a lot of people like to use some kind of combination of their first and last name, but it's up to you what you want to choose your email address as. So for our example, we'll use my first name and my last name as our email address and press next to see if it will go through. Okay, so in some cases, if the email address that you've chosen is really common, someone else might actually already be using this as their email address, and you unfortunately will not be able to use this as your account. So they will actually prompt you and let you know that this username is already taken and ask you to try coming up with something different. So instead of Kathy Yang, we can try maybe Kathy01 Yang at gmail.com and see if that will help. All right, so we can see that Kathy01 Yang still is not available and someone else is already using this as their address. So now you can see here that they actually prompt you and give you some examples of different accounts that are available that you can use. So you can either try one of the ones that they suggested if you like them, or if not, then you can try again and come up with a different address of your own. So for our example, we'll just go with one of the ones that they suggested, and I'll press next. So after we've created our email account, the next step is to create a password. So this password should be, again, something that you yourself can easily remember, but no one else should be able to guess what this password is, because anyone with access to your email address and this password will be able to log into your account and access all of your emails and personal information. So for our example, I've went ahead and made up a password. So after you've created your password, it's usually a good idea to write it down on the piece of paper if you feel like you'll forget it, and just to keep that piece of paper in a safe space. Once we have the password entered here, we can go ahead and press next. So the next step is kind of an extra security measure to confirm that the person signing up for this email account is actually a real person and not just a robot created by someone who has malicious intent. So here they ask us to enter a phone number. The email server will send a text message to this phone number with a verification code that we will need to enter in the next step to confirm that we are in fact a real person signing up for this email account. So once you've entered the phone number and you press next, you'll be brought to the next screen where you're asked to enter the code that was just sent to your phone and to enter that code here. So after you've added in the code and verified that you are in fact a person and not a robot, the next step will be whether or not you want to add this phone number to your account. So this step is optional. If you wanted to add the phone number to your account, you will scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen and click Yes, I'm in. Or if you're not comfortable adding your phone number onto your email account, then you will press Skip. Okay, so the next step is for us to review all of our account information. So you can see here that this is the new account that we've just created. And you can go ahead and press next. Okay, so the next step is some privacy and terms that you will have to agree to before you're able to use the email account through Google. So just make sure you read through the information carefully so that you understand what the policies are. And once you've reviewed all of the information and you are comfortable with it, you can press agree to move on to the next step. Right, so we can see here that the next step, it's automatically signing into our Gmail account for us and loading up our email inbox. So once the screen loads and is ready, you can go ahead and press save here up at the top right hand corner. And your account will be added to the email application on the iPad. So as you can see here, our iPad screen is empty and it gives us the prompt that says no message is selected. So the reason why it's empty is that we haven't chosen an email to open and look at. But if you can see here on the top left hand corner, there's actually a little blue arrow with the number 2 beside it. So that icon actually indicates to us that we have 2 unread emails that we have yet to open and look at. So to access those emails, all you have to do is press on that arrow and it will open up this column on the left-hand side that shows you the unread emails. So the way you can differentiate between an email that has been read and unread or opened versus not opened is by this little blue dot next to the email title. So if you see that little blue dot, it lets you know that the email has not yet been opened. So once you click into it, it will open the email and you can read what the message says here. And then once you're finished, you can press that blue arrow to go back out to the list. And you'll see now that that little blue dot has disappeared. But why you see that there's this blue box around the email is because we currently have opened this email. So it's highlighting to show you which message you're currently reading. If you were finished reading this message and you wanted to go to the next one, then you just simply press on the next message that you want to open. It will open up that email, you can read the message, and then click back out to see if you have any other unread messages. So here you can see that that was the first email that we've opened, but it's no longer highlighted blue because we're no longer reading that message. And there's no longer that little blue dot next to the email title because this message has already been opened and read. Next, we're going to go over how to go on the internet through the iPad. So on the iPad, there's an application called Safari. This is the application that you will use if you want to go on the internet on the iPad. So if you go back to the bottom bar where we found our email icon, you will see there's this other icon right over here. It's got a white background with a blue compass, and that's our Safari icon. If we click onto that, it will open our internet browser, and you can see here that we've set the home page for our internet browser to be Yihong's Care Learning website. What that means is that every time you open Safari, by default, you will be brought to this website automatically. The caregiver education and support team at Yihong actually run this website, and it's dedicated to providing informative videos to older adults and their caregivers to support mental, physical, and emotional well-being. This website is preloaded on the iPad so that you can watch the videos at any time and stay up to date with the new ones as they're uploaded. So we'll quickly walk through the Care Learning website. So once you scroll down to the page, the first thing you'll see is actually the Caregiver Education and Support Services upcoming programs calendar. So our team, they provide a lot of webinars in addition to maintaining this website every month that go over different topics related to older adults and caregiving. So if you were interested in seeing what is offered this month, you can click onto this calendar link right here where it says download February 2021 overview, and it will be updated every month. If you click onto there, it will open the full calendar for you on the next page, and you can go through and look at all of the different topics and information that's provided. In order to go back to the page that we were on before, you'll want to press this little arrow at the top left-hand corner, and it will bring you back to the page that you were previously on. So this applies to any website that you go on to through Safari. And if we keep scrolling past the calendar, down here you will see 4 images. So these are still shots taken from the 4 newest uploaded videos on the Care Learning website. So if you were interested in watching any of the 4, you can click onto the picture and it will open the video player for you. By clicking this triangle right in the center, you can start to play the video. If you wanted to pause the video, then you can click on the screen until you see this control bar come out and press the pause button here. And in order to close this video screen and watch another video, you'll go to the top right corner and press close. If you were done watching these 4 videos and wanted to see all of the videos that are offered on the Care Learning website, you can head down here to the bottom corner and click on View All Videos. You'll then be brought to the next page where if you keep scrolling downwards, you will see all of the videos that are available through the website. As you can see, over the years, the team has created a lot of informative videos and put it on the website, so feel free to browse through and take a look at all of them. In order to quickly return back to the top of the page after scrolling through all of the videos, you can click on this little arrow down here, and it will automatically scroll you back up to the top of the website. Of course, the Care Learning website isn't the only website that you'll be able to access through Safari. Basically, you have the whole internet at your fingertips, and you can head on to any website that you were interested in. In order to change the website from Care Learning to some other website that you wanted to head over to, you'll want to click up at the top where you see the current website that you are on, and it will open up this bar for you. If you click onto the words again, you'll see that the website we're currently on becomes highlighted, and the keyboard will pop up at the bottom. So you can press this X button here to clear the website that we're currently on, and you can use the keyboard to type in the web address that you want to go to.
We'll use Google as our example today.
So first, you'll want to type in Google, and you can see that oftentimes a lot of websites will automatically fill in the address for you. So we wanted to go to google.ca, and it automatically fills in the address for us. Once the address that you want to go to is up at the top bar, you can click this blue Go button to go to that website. If there's a website you want to go to, but you're not sure of the specific web address to get to that website, you can actually use Google as a tool to help you find that website. Google is an online search engine, so if there's something that you want to find on the internet, Google is a tool that can help you do that. You see in the middle of the screen, there's a bar with a little magnifying glass here. This is the area where you can enter keywords to help you look for what you want to find. As an example, let's say I wanted to find the No Frills flyer for this week, but I don't know the No Frills website. So what I can do is actually click onto this search bar here, and you'll see that once you do that, the keyboard will open up at the bottom. So here I can type in No Frills flyer, because that's the item I'm trying to find, but I don't know the website to get to. So you can see that after I typed in No Frills flyer, there's actually a list of suggested searches that will come up at the bottom. If one of these suggested searches is something that matches what you're wanting to look for, you can simply click onto the suggested search and Google will search for that for you. If you didn't like any of the suggestions that you see on the list, you can just leave your typed in response as it is and press the blue go button down at the keyboard to just search for the terms that you've entered yourself. So after I press the blue search button, we can see that the Google website came back with a list of results that matches the terms that I've searched for. So the first result at the top looks very promising to me. It says No Frills Supermarket. And the website here is shown at the top, www.nofrills.ca. So I'm going to click onto the result and it will bring me to the website. Once I'm in that website, it asks me to select the location that I'm from so that it can show me the flyer from my local area. So we're in Ontario, so I'm going to click into there. And you can see here that in order to further bring it down to a locality, it asks you to enter a city or postal code that you're interested to see the available flyers for. So here I'm going to type in Scarborough, and you can see that once I typed in the beginning of the word Scarborough, the first suggestion that comes up is the auto-filled option for Scarborough, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So if I click onto that, it will save me a lot of typing. And it will show me the available flyers for Scarborough No Frills locations. So if I'm interested in viewing Dave's No Frills because that's my local No Frills, then I will click View Flyer. And it will bring up the flyer for Dave's No Frills. So if I touch on the screen and I scroll upwards, then I will be able to view the full flyer pages in detail. And you can see here there's a little arrow on the side. That's the arrow that you'll want to click on to view the next page of the flyer and the next page. If you wanted to go back and view previous pages, you'll click on the arrow on the left-hand side. Now that I'm finished viewing the No Frills flyer, I want to close the No Frills website. So how would I do that? We will go back to where you see nofrills.ca at the top and give that a click, and it will open this top menu bar for us here. You'll want to go to the icon on the very top right hand corner where it shows two squares and give that a tap. And here it will show you a zoomed out version of the website you were just on. On the top left hand corner of this zoomed out version, you'll see an X. We're just going to press on that X and it will close the website that we're on, and we can then press the home button to close the whole internet browser. The next application on the iPad that we want to show you is called Zoom. So Zoom is a video conferencing application that allows you to engage in video chats with other people, so it could be your friends or family, through the internet. From the home screen of the iPad, you want to take your finger and put it on the background and slide it towards the left. Doing so will open the second page of the main menu of the iPad. If you go over to the bottom left-hand corner here, you will see this blue and white icon with the word Zoom underneath it. That's the icon for the Zoom application. If we click on this icon, it will open our Zoom application. So here you will see the option to join a meeting. If your friends or family want to start a Zoom meeting with you, they can schedule one and send you the meeting ID and password, and you can use that information to join in that meeting and meet with them virtually. So the first step would be to click into Join a Meeting. So here you see we'll be given the option to enter in the meeting ID. So this is a code of numbers that the person that has started the meeting will give to you, and you will enter the numbers in as they are given. So for our example, I have set up a Zoom meeting, so we'll enter the information for that meeting. Once the meeting ID is entered, you have the option to change the name that you will be joining the Zoom as. So here you can see that it automatically entered a name for us. If you like the display name that's automatically entered, you can leave it as is and click the blue join button. But if you wanted to change this name to something that's more identifiable so that your friends and family know that it's you who's joining the Zoom, you can just click onto the name, press the little X button next to it to clear it, and then enter in a name that you want to join the meeting as. After you've entered it, you can click the blue join button. So the next step after that is to enter the meeting passcode or password that's associated with this meeting. Again, this is information that the person who has set up the meeting will give you. Alright, so I've went ahead and entered the passcode for our example meeting. Once you have it entered, you can press continue. Alright, so the first time that you join a Zoom meeting through the iPad, there will be a couple permissions that you have to allow Zoom to do in order to use its functions fully. So the first one is it's asking us, Zoom would like to access the microphone. So you will have to press OK in order for Zoom to access the microphone on the iPad. Otherwise, the other meeting participants won't be able to hear you. So just make sure you press OK. And the next part is optional, up to you whether or not you would like Zoom to send you notifications on the iPad. We're just going to go ahead and allow it. And you'll see here on the screen, it says to please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon. So they first need to approve you on their end to join the meeting before you are able to see anyone virtually.
Once the meeting host has approved your request to join the meeting,
the next step is to allow others to hear you through audio. So this step is very important that you click call using internet audio. Otherwise, the other participants will not be able to hear you and you won't be able to hear them either. So we're just going to click call using internet audio. Okay, and that's the last step in joining the Zoom meeting. So once you are in the Zoom meeting, you have the option to either turn on or off your camera or turn on and off your microphone so that others can or can't see and hear you. In order to access those controls, you want to just touch on the screen here until the top bar comes up. So here you'll see an icon for mute. If the bar disappears, just touch on the background again and it will come back up. So there's a button for mute and a button for start video. So if you click on mute, you'll see that now there's a red line going through the microphone. That lets you know that your microphone is turned off and other meeting participants cannot hear you anymore. Same goes with the video button. If there's a red line going through the camera icon, that means your video camera is turned off and the other meeting participants will not be able to see you. If you want others to see and hear you, you'll have to click on both icons to turn them on. And here you will see the first time you use Zoom, it will ask you for permission to access the iPad camera in order to be able to let others see you. So we'll have to press OK. And now you can see down here is a little screen view of your camera to show you what you look like to the other people in the meeting. If we went ahead and turned off our video, you'll see that the little self view disappears and that will let you know that your camera is now turned off. If you need to leave the meeting, then you will want to press on the screen again so that the top bar comes up and press the red leave button at the top left-hand corner and it will ask you to confirm that you want to leave the meeting. So the last application that we'll be going through in today's video is the translation application. So again, if we put our finger on the screen and scroll to the next page of the iPad home menu, you'll see that next to the Zoom icon is the icon for translation. If we click on that icon, it will open our translation application. This application will allow us to translate terms to and from a wide variety of languages. For today's example, let's use English and Chinese. Let's say I want to find out what the Chinese translation for apple was. So I would go into the left-hand column and make sure that the language is set to the one that I want to translate from. So right now we can see that the language is set as Arabic, but I have the English term for apple that I want to translate. So I would click on the word Arabic to open a menu of different languages. From this menu, I can choose the language that I want to translate from, which in this case will be English. If you can't see the language that you want right at the top, you can keep scrolling and there is a full list of all the different languages that are available through this application. Once we've found English, we'll just click on it and you can now see that we will be translating from English. On the right-hand corner, this is the side where we will get the translation of the term that we want in the language that we set it to. Right now it's set to Cebuano, but I want to translate to Chinese. So I will again click on the language part and find the language that I want translated out into. So for us, we'll choose Chinese traditional. Once you've made sure that the input and output languages are the ones that you want, you can click here where it says enter text and it will open up your keyboard at the bottom. At this point, you can type in the word that you want translated and then press go. So after we've pressed go, you can see here that we are given the traditional Chinese translation of apple. If we want to hear how this is pronounced, you can click on the microphone next to the words. In addition to the Chinese translation that they've indicated as the most accurate, they also give some alternative translations at the bottom in case that one is not the one that you were looking for. It also follows up with a definition of the term that you've put in if it's available.